Sentire Media.
Well, hello there, and happy Primo Marzo, 1st of March. Playtime is over.
Yes.
It's time to get back to it. Thank you for downloading. My name is Jason. Ashley is sitting right next to me.
Ciao.
Chicha the cat is right there. Meow, Chicha. Oh, shit, she did it on command. We're sitting here in the sala of La Tavola Marche in Agriturismo Cooking School in the Kendaliano Valley. It is the 1st of March. Woo! Lots to do, lots to talk about, and it's late, 9:38 in the morning. It is a crappy, beautiful 1st of March. 2 degrees, 1 degree, sleet coming on outside, real wet, real cold, real crappy.
I love it. We need the rain and the snow or whatever we get, so it's good. And I just love this kind of crappy weather, so I'm feeling it. Rather have it now than later.
We're trying to stick to a little plan of doing these podcasts a little more often, and we are, right? We're talking to it.
We're doing it.
We don't have to tell you. We just do it.
Exactly.
All right, let's start it off. This is the end of the dog days of winter. Carnivale is over. We are now into the time where it's starting to get prepped for the garden, the new season of guests, the Earth Awakening. It's all happening.
Start the painting and all of that.
It all happens primo marzo. So those plans are well underway. We won't talk about the pigs because it's just we should have we're ready for them. It's just as soon as it stops raining outside. I don't really want to transport pigs in the pouring rain. Do you?
Nope.
All right. So we'll wait until a day where it's not so crappy outside and bring over our little pigs. I guarantee you, as soon as they set foot on this property, there will be a shit ton of pictures and what? So don't worry.
Absolutely.
You will absolutely know the moment these 2 pigs get here.
I can't wait. I'm sick of taking pictures of freaking tomatoes and stuff. So, and pasta. I'm excited for the pigs and hopefully one day shortly after a donkey. But yeah, you'll know.
Starting late this morning because dogs are walked, chickens are fed, cats are doing their thing, and I don't really feel like cleaning the bathroom or any of the inside jobs that were written down. So I procrastinated and said, I know this is a way to get out of work, so let's heat up the microphones.
We're putting in symbol like a rainy day recess is what I call this kind of weather. Little project for Jason today is taking out the fridges. We're replacing all of the old refrigerators in the guest rooms. They're not necessarily broken. They just
they are broken in the fact that when you turn them on, they immediately freeze. So that means that yes, it is cold in there, but no, they freeze up and it's just a mess and they're not energy efficient. And try to do a little something every year in this house so so you can't really tell how it's falling apart.
Slowly falling apart. So new fridges, shower heads, some things like that.
Yeah, new faucets in the bathrooms. Lipstick on a pig.
There you go. Those are the secrets of an innkeeper. Don't look close.
Don't look close.
Well, since there hasn't been a whole lot going on, we've been doing our archery classes, which we've had, I think, 3 so far, which has been great. The first half, like promised, stretching.
Lots of stretching. It's all about form. I like it.
It's us and another woman, Dr. Essa. Her husband makes antique style. I don't know what the difference is necessarily. Yet. He makes antique bows.
By hand,
but we don't know. Is that all he does? Like, how do you support yourself just as a antique bow maker? He's got to make other things like furniture or boats, or I have no idea. But they give her a hard time because they're like, finally, your husband's been making bows for all these years, and you're just now learning to shoot a bow and arrow. So, but it's been good because it gets us out of the house at night, which I know that sounds crazy. And
these classes don't start till 9:30 at night.
No, 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock. It feels like 9:30.
It is 9:30 because we show up at 9 and everyone starts trickling in at 20 after.
Yeah, that last time was terrible.
Okay.
But, and then it goes to like 10:30, 11, and it's about an hour drive home. This is late stuff for us on a winter, especially because it gets dark so early. And like Jason said, on account of the wolves, we don't go out at night. We've got to become such like homebodies in the winter, especially.
In the summer, it's different because it's like, till 9, 10 o'clock at night, that to be out later into the evening isn't a big deal. But now it feels like, oh my God,
I know.
Party animals.
I know. We're like, what are we doing? Might as well go to a rave.
Rave party.
We're up all night. But with having there not be a whole lot going on, it's like watching the stupid Netflix movies or stuff at night. And we started getting into a little bit of the Formula One series on Netflix. Not because I really even care about Formula One, but it's just such a huge part of the culture here. Gaji talks about it like it is a big deal.
It's Calcio, Formula One, and motorsports, the MotoGPs.
Yeah.
And you got to be able to know. It's like not knowing who Michael Jordan is for basketball kind of thing.
Or Tom Brady.
Yeah, you just have to be able to know these names. And I don't know any of the names. I really don't care about Formula One. But there's this Netflix documentary show, and it's fine.
It's entertaining.
Anyway, that's not the main part that we want to talk about. The part that I found hysterical is every time they show the teams. Multiple episodes. Anytime they show the Ferrari team in, like, the pits, the mechanics and the pit guys and all that, they're always doing stretches.
They use red bands that we use at Archery because they always say at the class, you have to have scalda bene, like you got to get warmed up good and warm your muscles. And all of the stretches they're doing at the Formula One thing is exactly what we're doing. And the neck rolling and the stretching the arms. It's just hilarious. And I wonder if the editors and whatever, if they know how funny it is and that's why they keep putting it in, or if it just caught them like, why are the Italians the only ones stretching all the time? But the timing was perfect. We were just cracking up whenever we see it. So Nick, if you watch the series, keep an eye out for
the Ferrari team doing a lot of stretching.
Yes.
Other Netflix. I don't know why we're pushing Netflix.
No,
crap.
this is Prime.
The Clarkson's Farm. If you haven't checked out the first season, I would recommend the first season. Jeremy Clarkson from Top Gear. You might not have heard of him or know of him. He hosted the biggest show in the entire world.
Absolutely.
For 20 years. And he now...
Again, didn't like cars, but I loved this show.
Top Gear is great. You should, even if you don't like cars. Anyway, super rich guy bought a farm, I guess, and it's his fish out of water story. The first one was really good.
Really good because... of course, in over-the-top kind of television and Jeremy Clarkson style, like buying huge machinery and some of that.
Yeah, but you have to do for a farm.
That's what I'm saying. Okay. But you also have to do it for a TV show where it's over the top big. Mm-hmm. And some of that where they make fun of him for making the wrong purchases. And there was a great deal of it kind of the fumbling through of trying to learn how to mend a fence and all of these things and realizing how much goes into little everyday parts that you don't even think about, where it's like, I've got the tractor, I'm a farmer. It's like, no, so much more goes into it. And the very last part of that first season, they take a real honest look at the numbers and the subsidies that you would get in the EU or in the UK, and as a farmer, and what that means to the farmer and what they could grow and how much they can actually make. And at the end of the day, I think he
broke even, and then you get the subsidies.
Yes.
Anyway, this year with Brexit, they're losing the European Union subsidies, so he has to replace 80,000 pounds of income from the subsidies. His idea to do that is to spend 500,000 pounds on trying to build a restaurant.
Yes.
So it's just kind of like, all right. And it's more, this year's more about the bureaucracy of his local town than anything else, than really the farming.
Yeah, it's kind of a bummer. The first season I thought was great. The second was like, all right, it's okay.
It's more contrived, I think.
A little bit, yes.
But there's shit else on Netflix, so we still watched all the episodes.
The farming hands are great. The main guys who do all the work, Caleb and the other guys, just show how much work goes really into it. And it's impressive.
So, Netflix. All right, moving on. Starting seed planning. This is good stuff. So, 1st of March, it's time to get out the books from past gardens and compare notes. And
Hot garden tip.
Take notes.
Get so here at the bank and stuff, everyone gives you free
Agenda. What do they call agendas?
Agendas, or in here they call them like diaries or the calendars.
Book.
Where it's like a calendar. It's called an agenda in English. Anyway, use something like that, and each time you're planting, just flip to that page, mark the front of the book, 2000 whatever, and go back to it.
You'll never remember. Draw a diagram of your garden so you know where things are planted, or if you take lots of photos. Write down times when you fertilized or exceptional weather, or I just write
notes
down.
Notes at the end of the year at the back so you remember to tell yourself.
You'll never remember them. How many did I plant? What was the name of the tomato that did well? Didn't we have a really hot June once they went in? So just take notes on those kind of things, and this way you can go back and remember. But we were going through and seeing when do we really start the seeds, between what times, and we realized that because I'm Jason and I have...
and because you have Gaji.
And because I have Gaji. I, over the years, have perpetually moved the time back of starting the seeds couple of weeks every year.
Oh my gosh, absolutely.
So last year I was starting seeds on the 1st of February. And it's just in our climate, nothing really goes in until at the May, like end of April, beginning of May. Things that we put in from the year before, or from the autumn, that start growing, like the peas and the fava beans and stuff. But really anything that we're starting from seed over the winter now doesn't really go in till May. April, end of April. So,
and if you don't have these books, you don't quite realize that you pushed it ahead a month and a half.
Yeah.
And it's like, what are we doing? Or maybe, is this why we're having problems? And but also, for sure, this is why it drives us crazy to move seeds for a month and a half, or a month longer than needed between
the house,
starting them, moving them to the kitchen by the fire, moving them outside with sun during the day, moving them back in, finally moving them to the greenhouse, moving them back in at night. Like, we shuffle a shit ton of seeds.
Little pots.
Yeah.
Because we don't have a heated greenhouse. Anyway, the second part of writing the stuff in the book you need to do is actually go back and look at it. Because
writing it down.
Writing it down isn't good enough, because I would write it down every year and then not look at it going into the next year. So finally we got the last 3 or 4 years together, looked at it, and you could see, holy shit. I started out at the correct time planting them, and over the last 4 years I've moved it back by 2 weeks till here we are 6-8 weeks earlier than they really need to be in the ground. Yeah, in the pot.
Also, things like, why did we do so well with potatoes that year? Oh yeah, it was COVID and Gaji wasn't allowed to be here. We planted them so we could do it properly.
Gaji loves to bury potatoes real deep. Potatoes don't really want to be buried that deep.
No. So get a garden book. Use it. Don't even have a fancy, crazy one. You don't need all these other things, but just having something where it's like this calendar book and you can go through. That's what's more important.
So we're getting that into it. We have to figure out if we're going to do a new system of starting our seeds, the little cocoa core pods, or
Jiffy Pops.
Yeah, Jiffy Pods. Big garden seed starting talk.
Everything got more expensive.
Yeah, no shit. Everything got more expensive.
Mm-hmm. But so when do you want to start the onions?
Real quick on the getting more expensive, we got an email, when was it? 2 weeks ago, a week ago, about the woman who's like, I contacted you before COVID, and now all of a sudden, it's like, if you contacted us 3-4 years ago, everything. Prices have changed, baby.
Everywhere
in Italy. We talked about that last podcast.
I think,
we?
We definitely did.
I'm just buying a bunch of stuff right now that nothing fun, just a bunch of crap that you don't want to spend money on, but you have to spend money on it to keep your business going. And you realize that, when I bought that 3 years ago, or 2 years ago, it was, 30% cheaper than it's the same exact thing. So,
well, also Jason has the old school mentality of, this computer should last 25 years.
No, I don't think a computer should last 25 years. However, if you buy a premium product, it should last. You're spending more money for something to last longer. I don't believe that an iPhone that costs fucking $1,200 to $1,400 is done after 3 years. That's ridiculous.
Throw it away.
Yeah, just chuck it.
Chuck it.
Yeah, okay.
Speaking of buying stuff.
Oh, speaking of buying stuff.
First time in, when did we buy the old washing machine?
All the electrodomestici, all the like washing machine, dryer, dishwasher, all that stuff that we bought when we first came. We probably bought them between 13 and 15 years ago. It's all...
Okay, shout out to Bosch, is it, for the freaking dishwasher?
Bosch is good.
We have put that thing is a little tiny beast because we got that 6 months after we moved. And
No. For after the first year. Remember, we washed dishes by hand
for 6 months.
Are you sure?
100%.
Okay.
And so then it was like, because it was like right after Megan left or right around...
Whatever. Last time I said that the pigs don't have stripes, I'm shutting my mouth.
Anyway, that thing, we have put it through the ringer, literally, of just the amount of dishes and how many times we've run it and all of this and the big sizes and wine glasses and everything shoved in there.
Hard water.
Oh, and especially the hard water, exactly. And you've had to do a few things to clean it out here and there or whatever, but all in all, pretty solid for what we put it through.
But here we are 15 years later when we go to look at a new Bosch. Why is everything connected to the goddamn internet?
Exactly.
Why do I need a dishwasher Why do I need a dishwasher that has Wi-Fi? Or Bluetooth. I don't understand it. Any of the higher...
and they'll call it like... iHome or Home Professional or something, and it's like, no.
Even if you have one of those like automated houses, do you really think on the way home you're going to whip out your phone and hit the start the dishwasher button? I don't understand why we need
I don't know. Things. Or it dings you when it's done. I don't know. Just go check. It's not a big deal. That guy's got some pretty good ideas. So buying all this stuff, it's really funny when you go onto like the Bosch website and see what the latest models are, and then you go to find it from a reseller here in Italy. I've said this for years, and this is my favorite one, but it's always the yesterday's model. So not the one that they just came out with this year. It's always the last model that you can really find around, and it's always at the new model's price. Yesterday's models for tomorrow's prices. For electronics, I don't know why in this country. Do they not sell enough of them? Is it just there's some weird electronics tax in Italy? I have no idea. If you go and look it up in another country, it's like, holy shit. Germany's 25% cheaper than Italy across the board for all and
this
brand
stuff.
Spanking new.
And the very new model. So I don't get I've stopped wondering why. I just complain about it.
We're stepping up on the washing machine.
Woo,
we've had 8 kilos forever.
Small one.
Tiny. I still shove a ton of shit in there. I get probably more than 8 kilos.
Do you think anyone cares about hot dishwasher talk or washing machine talk?
Oh yeah, it's country talk. This is if you want to move to Italy. This is why if you've come to Italy and stayed somewhere and no one's got a washer and dryer to use, or where's the dryer? No one's got a dryer. Like the cost of these things is so expensive.
Well, dryers chew up energy.
Mm-hmm. So it's but what was interesting though too is to recently have been back in the States and to see how gigantic the washing machine and dryers are there.
They look like commercial ones.
Huge. And here the biggest I can get is 12 kilos, and that one's considered like monster semi-pro and all of that. And I'm just like, this still is a fraction of the size.
Look at also the refrigerators.
Oh, my God. Absolutely. We love looking at real estate anywhere, whether it's here in Italy or somewhere back in the States, and seeing the differences and
the monster fridges in the kitchens in the States. I know. They look like you're feeding a professional kitchen.
I know. A lot of people just have like slightly oversized mini fridges here.
All right. This has been Hot Talk. Everyone's on the edge of their seat. That's the end of our list. Do we have anything else to talk about?
Well, I'm going to do a chapter from the book. I'm going to pick one of a winter. I think one about the season of fatness or something, of just season of the pig, of just winter days.
It is the season of the pig.
Exactly. Those winter days just getting fat and what's to come. So stick around.
Are you going to do that right now?
Yeah, in just a minute. We'll push pause and I'll get ready.
All right. Why don't you plug a bunch of crap so people know where to find us?
Very good. Well, this was a short and sweet one. Thanks for tuning in.
Oh, you're going to keep going then.
I know.
Okay.
But just so you know where to find us, latavolamarche.com, LATAVOLAMARCHE. And we have a couple spots left for the Wood Oven Workshop, which is a blast. It's one of our favorite ones to do. The meat week is coming together and waiting for the final okay from the butcher we're going to be working with. on the dates. And the first truffle hunt is sold out. The second one in the beginning of November, there's still a few spots. Everything's starting to fill up for the fall. So if you're interested, come and check it out on the website. There's a few dates we've added in the summer for our 3-night taste of La Marque. This is like our classic from when we first started. This has been just a hit. 3 nights, Thursday to Sunday. Come for fun pizza night, market trip, tour tasting. We go to Fusciani's. We go up to the Hunter's Hideaway. Then that evening, go check out a festival or hang out for a little festive quiz night and some of my comedy.
Jesus.
And an evening of stories. And then the next day, go drive around, check out the market, for example, in Urbino or Fano. And then that Saturday afternoon, dinner cooking class, and then Sunday departure. So we've got a couple dates in August and July available for that as well. So stick around for the book.
Very good. It's beautifully sleeting.
Now it's snowing. These are big, huge snowflakes.
Big, huge, wet
They're
snowflakes.
Starting to stick a little bit.
It is not sticking.
In my heart, it is.
Ashley, it is melting as soon as it hits the ground.
All right. Have a good one. Stick around for the book. All right. Thanks for sticking around for a little bit of the book. If you haven't tuned into the podcast in some time, I have a unfinished, unpublished, untitled book that I started after our first few years, about our first year. And sporadically, just like this podcast, I will read it from time to time and share some of these chapters. And so here we go. All right. This one I know I've done before, but it's perfect for winter, and I wish I had read it around Christmas time, but here we go. With the snow falling, it's perfect. Chapter 33, The Pasta Posse. The kitchen fireplace has been crackling since 7 a.m. and Jason since 5 a.m. As I stumbled into the kitchen for my morning cappuccino, ready to get to work, I'm greeted by the warmth of the fire, the smell of coffee, and a serenade by Jason in his best Nat King Cole impersonation. Well, good morning, my love. Chestnuts roasting on an open fire. He reaches for my hand and brings me in. Always eager to sing along, I jump in without missing a beat. Jack Frost nipping at your nose. Yuletide carols being sung by a choir. I signal for Jason to take it away. Doobie doobie doo, something about turkey and mistletoe. Already on his third coffee, he's raring to go and his mind is racing. Do you want a Kappa Wappa? This is code for a cappuccino made with whole milk and dark chocolate. You know I do. But seriously, how do you stop just before the chorus? It's the best part. I asked, totally perplexed. I add 2 spoonfuls of sugar to my strong Kappa Wappa, and I'm overtaken by the festive holiday mood. I can't help but finish the song loud enough for the whole empty house to hear. Although it's been said many times, many ways, Merry Christmas to you. Sorry for the singing, guys. It really does feel like the holidays. I just got a whiff of something cinnamony baking in the oven. You'd think it was Christmas morning. Up early because he was too excited to sleep. Jason is beaming today. Is very special. Rosanna, the doctor's wife, and her posse of pasta makers are visiting with Dr. Gaggi to kneel, roll, and fill 50 eggs worth of pasta for Cappelletti and Brodo, or little hats filled with meat and broth. Think tortellini, but smaller. No self-respecting Marchigiani could possibly be without this dish on Christmas Day. And since we are doing our best to become Italian and share in these traditions, we too will proudly serve our homemade Cappelletti and Brodo. Side note, this is the very first time we did this, and we do it every year since, so I just love it. Okay, keep going. This is no impromptu party. This is generations in the making and weeks in the planning as we prepare to gather with our neighbors to make over 15 pounds of pasta for one another. We were beyond honored to be hosting this pasta-making party, but with that comes the responsibility of making the impasto, or the filling for the Cappelletti, a mixture of chicken, pork, veal, cheese, lemon zest, and nutmeg. The pasta dough recipe never changes. 100 grams of flour to 1 egg. Simple. It's the impasto filling recipe that is shrouded in debate. We've sat for endless hours with Gaggi and Rosanna and numerous other villagers discussing, scrutinizing, and even times ridiculing each other's family recipes, all virtually identical to an outsider except for a pinch extra of nutmeg or 1 less gram of of meat or one less egg. After Gaji single-handedly vetoed all recipes under consideration, except for Rosanna's mother's, quote-unquote, because it's the way it should be, Jason took on the daunting task of recreating his mother-in-law's now legendary pasta filling. It must be made a day before you plan to use it, which is why it was no surprise that yesterday that Gaji showed up unannounced, as per usual, swung open the back door, grunted something with a spent cigarette in his mouth, marched straight into the kitchen, rifled through the top drawer, found what he was looking for, beelined for the fridge, never saying a word when he passed me doing the dishes, scooped a heaping spoonful of impasto, savored it slowly, nodding his head, grunted again, and slipped out the back door. And with that, I knew Jason had made it like mama, because Lord knows if it was off by even a half teaspoon of anything, he would have mentioned it. Jason is good. He's prepared the workstations. 4 tables are flanking the fire, each with X amount of kilos of flour, a dozen eggs, and a rolling pin. As proper Italian etiquette dedicates, he has something for everyone to nosh on. 2 crostatas with homemade fig jam, as well as his grandmother's apple cinnamon cake. The combination of cinnamon and crackling pine fills the kitchen as he opens the door, tempting me to sing Christmas carols all day long. Today, the teacher becomes the student yet again. Jason is eager to learn from this dying breed of born and raised Pio Bacchese. Okay, side note. After reading this stuff again after all these years, it's hysterical how I romanticized crackling pine, because any self-respecting farmer/person who lives in the country would know that pine is a mess. It just crackles, it spits at you, it doesn't put off any heat at all. I just love how we had no idea what we were doing. All right, back to the story. Rosanna is wise and has enlisted the best pasta makers in town for this party. These are working country women, devout Catholics, cut from the same cloth, wearing the centuries of peasant life passed down to them in their thick calloused hands, creased faces, and short stature. As the ladies enter the side kitchen door, each and every one properly softly asks permiso, permission to enter before they dare take a step in. Of course you're permitted to enter. Get in here. It's cold outside. There's work to do. Upon entering, Rosanna mumbles something about Gaji going hunting with Tom the dog, and that he'll probably be here shortly. She promptly begins formal introductions of the ladies with a cadence and volume reminiscent of a royal steward with a trumpet announcing guests to a fancy ball like in My Fair Lady or Cinderella. Maria, the wife of Severino, shouts Rosanna, and in comes the frizzy-haired sister of Franchino. I told you everyone is related here. She thrusts a potted plant as a gift into my hands, heads straight for the fire. Franchino may be her brother may be the locally famous polenta maker, but Maria is as well known in these parts for her paper-thin pasta and rich sauces made to order by the women of town, too busy to roll out their own dough. Like her brother, Maria was born in our farmhouse over 60 years ago. You could see the memories return as she takes a deep, steady breath in. It's been almost 50 years since she was last inside these meter-thick walls. There's history here for her. She's the quietest of the bunch, but packs a punch when she does pipe up. The next is Lana, the wife of Maurizio, the woodworker, bearing a bottle of homemade vinegar from her bag. What a lovely, pungent gift. Before we can even begin to thank her, Rosanna breaks in. Ida, the wife of Olavio, and Pia, the wife of Manco. Rosanna's voice almost echoes off the stove. They have made you panettone, fatto a casa. She reiterates, noting in her tone how difficult the recipe must be. I can't wait to try it, and I'm not sure if I should hide the sweetbread for later or offer to share. I hand it off to Jason to decide. Ida flutters into the room, perpetually happy. She's so tiny and cute. She makes me smile every time I see her, and today is no different. A reverent silence hushes the room as Pia marches in. This is when the trumpets would sound, for sure, as she commands the room. Pia is also Fusciani, our landlord's cousin, so again, everyone is related. We've all met these women except for Maria before. However, I whisper grazie in Rosanna's ear, thankful for her family tree reintroduction, as my mind was racing to place the name to the face. After a year, I'm certain we've met the entire village, but I just can't remember everyone's name or family tree. Kisses are bestowed upon everyone, cheek Kisses are bestowed upon every cheek as we go, piacere mio. Oh, no, the pleasure's mine. We're so happy to have you here today. We have much to learn. And with that, the formalities are done. Peeling off their heavy winter jackets and thick wool scarves, they roll up their sleeves, find a table, and begin cracking eggs before we can even offer a cafe. The rain makes the sky dark with a forecast of snow, but no one seems to mind, because we've got work to do and the kitchen is abuzz. It's all, in almost complete unison, Jason and the pasta posse begin transforming flour and eggs into dough. They start by creating a well on the board with the flour, leaving plenty of room in the center. One by one, the eggs are cracked into the center of the well. With a fork, they begin scrambling the eggs while bringing in the flour from the wall of the well until it's thick, lumpy mess. Cleaning all the egg off the fork, and within 2 seconds flat, a few pushes, turns, and folds, and a homogeneous dough begins to form. After 2 or 3 minutes of kneading, what was just 2 simple raw ingredients becomes a shiny, smooth, golden yellow ball of beautiful dough that in an hour's time will be ready to be painstakingly rolled into pasta sheets. What takes one of Jason's cooking classes almost an hour, these ladies have done in just minutes with years of experienced hands. After the rigorous kneading, the dough needs to rest for about an hour, and so do we. A table is moved closer and cleared closer to the fire. We lay the all-important tablecloth. The crostata is cut and placed onto a sterling silver pie tiers. The coffee pot hisses and gurgles on the stove, calling to tell us that it's ready to serve. Molinari, sambuca, and local grappa from Colesi are placed on the table for anyone looking for a little correzione. As the women come together around the table, the conversation grows in volume, led by Rosanna, and I feed the fire with another load of wood. Jason and I smile at one another. It doesn't matter if we only understand about 30% of the conversation. They slip in and out of local dialect. We love being part of it, listening to these local legends. Suddenly, the back door bursts open, and with a gust of cold December air, in barges Il Dottore with his Elmer Fudd hat sitting cockeyed on top of his head. Tom howls behind him, begging to be let in. He pushes the dog out the door, passes through the archway, and immediately his tortoiseshell glasses fog over as he makes his way into the toasty kitchen. The consummate ball-buster starts in immediately. Oh, ragazzi! I thought you were here to do work and make pasta. Seems to me there's just a bunch of ladies sitting around the fire doing jack shit. Anche, Jason, chimes in Pia, nodding towards the sole male at the table as she perfectly peels an apple in one long curly strand. Come ho detto, like I said, Gaji counters with a grin as he turns and opens the cabinet to retrieve himself a cup of coffee. It's taken us some time, but Jason and I have come to realize how hysterical and what a dry sense of humor the doctor has. Language barriers or not, I think that Gaji and Rosanna at this point understand Jason and I pretty well, or at least they get our version of Italian. He pours a shot glass of strong, dark coffee and tops it with a heavy hand of Molinari, settles into his chair and lights up. Did you kill anything? Jason quickly asks, changing the subject. Niente. Nothing, Gaji grumbles, stubbing out his cigarette in the now empty cup. It's been a rough season. The ladies all add their 2 cents, mentioning what, if any, their husbands had shot so far this year, causing a bit of competition amongst the wives. Rosanna mentions the freezer is full of focaccia and becaccia. It's full from the catch and of the woodcock, and Gaji smiles at his wife, thankful she's got his back. Inevitably, the conversation turns back to food, which means we understand now almost 70% of what's being said. Reminiscing about our favorite holiday dishes and what we've been serving at our table this year. There are fishes and meats, crostini and pasta, of course the cappelletti. All eyes turn to Jason, curious to hear what sort of foreign dishes he'll be serving, imagining hot dogs must be included somewhere. He begins with the antipasti and mentions chicken liver crostini. Anna asks what his recipe is, and yes, this is a test. Jason perks up in his chair. Un po' di olio, a bit of olive oil, carrot, onion, celery. As he lists the ingredients, he pantomimes chopping since he can't remember the word for it in Italian. He looks at me for help, but I don't know either. Pia understands. Talia, she says. Jason shakes his head, yes, and repeats it. Si, Talia, fine. Cut it small, and continues on. Yes, finely chopped. And liver, vinegar, eggs, but just he struggles to find the word and goes with what he knows. Egg reds, or yellow egg inside eggs only. He looks lost for a moment till Maria adds, si, il torlo. No, nodding in agreement. Grazie, he blushes. and presses on, determined. Vino bianco, limone, sale, pepe. Si, bravo, the ladies agree. Jason continues to work his way down the menu, mentioning he will serve 2 primos, the cappelletti, and a lasagna bianco, which is an exquisite dish made with wild porcini, sausage, and you can use truffle oil if you want. The wise elders all nod their head in approval as if he's being graded. A++++++. Jason continues on to Secundo and Dolce, and they give him a round of applause. They're so happy. The entire menu is not only Italian, but local. They beam with pride, and so do I. See, why can't Severino cook like that, Maria laments. Va bene, says Gaggi in dialect with a long exhale as he stands. With that, we're back to work. Perched near the fire, I take in the scene for all its glory. Try not to be noticed as I snap a few photos, knowing I'd blog about this later tonight for sure. As they've done year after year, the casalinga, or housewives, roll the pasta in big round sheets, paper thin, in perfect rhythm, without much notice to their hands or tiring arms, more interested in the local gossip chirping about the room. The doctor struts around the kitchen like a cocky rooster in the field, circling around the ladies, checking their work, always with a quick quip or half-kidding critique. Looks a little thick on your edges. Attenzione, try to keep it nice and rectangular shape, please. He chomps on a cigarette, moves on to his next victim. He does to get a rise out of them and to entertain himself. It works every damn time. It's hysterical to watch because good old Gaggi may believe he's an expert on everything, but he's never made pasta a day in his life. He readily admits this and maintains it doesn't make him any less of a critic because, I quote, I know how it should taste. We roar with laughter after the seemingly quiet Maria begins waving her rolling pin in the air, swatting towards the doctor, exclaiming, if he knows so much, he can make it. He grunts, heads for the door, and he reaches for another cigarette, mumbling something about how this is woman's work anyway. Now, this to me feels like the holidays, not only because I have Bing quietly piped in, setting a little mood music, but we're all in the kitchen, surrounded with food, flipping each other shit just like we used to do in my family. I realize how much that tightly wound little package known as Dottore Settimio Gaggi is uncanny to my Henri Oki grandpa Leroy doll. Poking fun and getting a rise. Sorry. I know it's so true, side note. I know it's so true. I say it all the time. I haven't read this in a while, even though I've already read it on the podcast before, but since my grandpa has passed away, so it's just kind of sweet. Anyway, sorry about that. My grandpa's so ornery and hilarious, we named our dog after him, so I don't know why I'm getting choked up. Anyway. Poking fun, just trying to get a rise out of you and a good chuckle, a hard-as-nails SOB that shows his love in work projects, most likely while telling you you're doing it all wrong. Just as my grandpa teaching me to pour cement, because when is that not useful for a 12-year-old girl to know? Gaggi bonds with me while planting potatoes, just the two of us sweating it out in the midday sun as Jason teaches a cooking class. He takes the time to dig the holes, to talk long and slow, imparting the wisdom of his years and the correct spacing for the onions. I don't even know why there's that side story in there, but I guess just he reminds me of my grandpa. Doing projects, digging a hole just to fill it in later that night, telling you you're doing it wrong the whole time, but there's some sort of crazy love involved. Anyway, here we go. Pia continues rolling as Ida grabs a knife and begins cutting the pasta into 1-inch squares. I swear she barely even looks at the pasta as she glides the knife through the sheet in one fatal cut. We divide into 2 assembly line teams, half of us placing a pea-sized pinch of meat filling in the center of each square and the other folding and twisting them into shape, tossing them haphazardly onto the semolina sprinkled board. Jason and I are to shadow the ladies until we're deemed able and capable to do it on our own. Rosanna takes me under her wing and we began making the little balls of filling. Naturally, Jason follows Anna's lead and begins folding the pasta. Lana explains the art of twisting cappelletti in 2 simple steps. Fold into a small triangle, sealing the edges with your fingertips. This is molto importante. And 2, turn the triangle so the point faces your stomach, then pull the legs together so they kiss and pinch. It's not too difficult to learn, however, it's mindless repetition. You naturally want to put too much filling into the squares, making them impossible to close. And just be careful while twisting that you don't crush it into a blob. Anna notices Jason's frustration in getting the twist down and shows him again. On cue, Gaji walks in. Dear God, he has sausage fingers. He's just smushing it. Give it to me. I'll show you how it's done. And with a surgeon's accuracy, he delicately folds perfect capellini one after another. Jason and his sausage fingers are regaled to filling duty, and I move up the chain. Quasi finito. Almost done, screams. Quasi finito! That's how she sounds. Almost done, screams Rosanna from the back of the room as she counts each and every piece of capelletti, expertly dividing them between us all. Looking up at the clock above the fireplace, 3 hours have flown by, but what a production indeed. It must be why they say capelletti are only made for those you love. They say the smaller you make them, the more you love the person. Satisfied with the job, well done, we admire our work, pop a bottle of Prosecco, and share a hunk of Pia's homemade panettone that's been warming by the fire, making the bread soft enough to almost melt in your mouth. Jason and I will never forget this day. With old school Italy sitting at our table, come una volta, like once upon a time. All the knowledge that these 6 simple people have to share with us is overwhelming. What they have witnessed and experienced helps connect us to this country, land, and the stories of recipes, war, famine, child rearing, surviving and thriving in this valley for generations. These ladies are just as drawn to us as we are to them. Eager to learn, eager to teach. Their own grandchildren are uninterested in continuing these traditional old world recipes, more interested in modern conveniences and texting with their friends. If it weren't for us, they would have no one to pass along their knowledge. It seems like we're all looking for that feeling of family. All right. Thank you so much for listening again. Sorry, sometimes I choke up, but I hope you enjoyed it. All right. Alla prossima. Until next time. Ciao, ciao.
Sentire Media.
Hey, podcast producers and show hosts. Do you want to join a podcast network that celebrates all things Italian? At Sentire Media, we understand the allure of Italy and its unique culture. Our devoted team of hosts and producers are all driven by their shared passion for Italy. And we work tirelessly to create the best lifestyle podcasts and content that will whisk you away to the very heart of Italy. With us, you can savor the mouth-watering flavors, get lost in the stories from the past, break down the cultural barriers, and truly immerse yourself in the vibrant traditions of this intoxicating country. If you have a great podcast idea or are already in production and would like to join Sentire Media, head over to sentiremedia.com, that's SENTIRE media.com, and find out how to submit your show.